Hola. Buenos días.
Hola,
Bienvenida
buenos días.
a Emerging Proud, Karina.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Katie, for this invitation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. That's the extent of where I'm going with Spanish. So,
Don't
um,
worry.
I'm
If you want, we can mix one.
it's a little bit scary for me, as you know. So I'm here with lovely Karina Simieli, and we met at the Integral Europe conference in Hungary in 2015. I was thinking that earlier, I can't believe it's 3 years ago. Like, that's crazy. And I just wanted to say that I invited Karina to talk about her work. It's not the other way around, because I really value what you do. You've been a huge support to me since we met, and I wanted to try and showcase your work, because I have a lot of people come to me and say, do you know of anyone? Can you help me? Who can I see who gets this stuff? And you have been somebody that I know can offer that. So I just really wanted for people to know of you in the community. You are a resource and just such a humble, wonderful person doing this work. So I'm looking forward to the community meeting you and hearing more about your story and what you do. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Katie, for this amazing words. I really love it.
So you're an integral coach, and I'll ask you a bit more about what that means in a minute. But you describe yourself as an awakener of being. I love that phrase. Love that phrase. It's so true. And I know you concentrate on the importance of like the integrated approach to healing. So really looking at the emotions and traumas that we hold in the body. And that's something that I've experienced with you, having some sessions around kind of somatic release, which I found really powerful, which was a new thing for me. And obviously something we just don't hear about within mainstream mental health services. So it'd be great to talk to you a bit more and learn more about that. And I think the stories that we hear in the Emerging Proud community are of people who have a very sudden awakening due to crisis. But I think there is the other side. There is a gradual unfolding of psycho-spiritual evolution, and I think you maybe work more with that kind of evolution. I don't know if I'm right, and that's kind of the experience that you've had yourself. So it'd be great to learn more. I don't know a huge amount about your history, so it'd be good to learn more about you today as well. So maybe if we can start by you explaining what it means for those who haven't heard the term integral coach before.
Okay. That's okay for me. Well, integral coaching is based on the theory of integral theory developed by Ken Wilber. And for me, it's a very important background for my work. And in few words, it's an holistic way of see the person, not just body, emotions, and mind. That is the approach, the standard approach of every branch of coaching. And although it's in a systemic way, in the different system that we act every day, and also in the big system, right? With our relationship with nature and where we are here, which is our purpose in life. And also this view include two dimensions of our development, our consciousness development, and also our spiritual development. And for me, this is the main point of of the world, trying to build a coherence in these two ways of growing up and waking up.
Yeah, I love that about Ken Wilber's work. Actually, it really spoke to me when I learned about that, like the development, the psycho-spiritual development. So yeah, we develop on so many different levels in so many different ways. And so how do you go about working with someone in that way? What would it entail?
Well, it was because I joined a group here actually I'm living in Spain.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
No, I was born in Argentina, but I'm living in Catalonia right now, well, from 2006, 2005. And I met here a wonderful team that I'm part of right now, that is called Coevolution Hub. And yes, we are like a community of practice of integral theory. Yes, and we are working here in our cities, in our place, trying to make some changes as a change makers. And we were to Budapest at the Integral Conference. We applied to expose our work, and we were selected by the organization team. Yes, and we are really happy to work in here in that way and with this background.
So you're kind of, I know so you work with organisations as well and wider communities, yes. And it's about the interconnectedness. You talk about the interconnectedness of being and systemically how we impact on each other. So you offer that, and you also offer individual coaching. So I suppose I was asking you, say somebody came to you with a certain issue they were struggling with. What would a session look like if you were working with them on an individual level? Does that make sense?
Sorry, I couldn't follow you. Sorry.
So what if somebody came to you for coaching as an individual? How would you work with them? Is it intuitive? Do you follow a certain program? Is it dependent on the issue that they come with? I was just wondering if somebody maybe watching and they have a certain issue that they need support with, what would a session with you kind of look like, and what would it involve?
Well, for me, it's each session, each process is a tailor-made. I think every coach works in that way, but I was training in different models of coaching and different topics. For example, I used to act and take theater classes, and I also bring to my sessions some resources. I think the main point is to be open and listen to the person and what is needed right now in this moment. And I bring resources for different branches of my training.
Yeah, and that was very much my experience with you, was feeling held and kind of you just working in a way that I can't really explain. That's why I wondered if you were able to explain how you work, because you got me moving around and doing things that I've never done in a therapy session before, and it was kind of unnerving, but also brought up things that hadn't maybe been accessed before, which was really powerful. But you do it in such a gentle way, and I think it's maybe a modality of working that we're not used to within this kind of paradigm of healing within the current systems. And like you mentioned about trying to change communities and bring more of this holistic way of not just working but being.
Yeah. Well, the work we did together was based on the process work developed by Arnold Mindell. That is, well, he trained with Jung, the famous psychologist Jung, and Jung. Work a lot with the body and with duality and and two faces of everything, and I think this is, for me, this is the important thing. Try to bring together, because or the yin yang thing that Orientals. The Oriental philosophy is so important to me, that balance this kind of thing that it's present in nature and it's present within us.
Mm-hmm. The shadow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. How to include, how to embrace this shadow, because it has a purpose in our life. We have to learn something from it.
I think that's really important, isn't it? Because we're kind of taught to push that away, push anything that's kind of darkness and classed as a negative energy away, and actually it's about bringing that in and reintegrating it. And yeah, that is where the transformation happens. I wonder if you could let people know a bit about kind of what led you to this work. I know you mentioned that you had a trip to Thailand, and that was kind of a catalyst for you in the last few years. But is that relating to anything that happened to you in your history? Have you had a slow kind of evolution, spiritual evolution, or was there a moment that you can remember in your life that
no. Well, I think I always being a seeker. I was grew up in a Catholic school. Well, my family wasn't too much Catholic or religious, but I grew up in that environment. But yes, I always looked for answers, or asked to me questions about, this is all about it. And I think it should be a bigger thing, right? And I went to Thailand by chance, because a friend of mine invited me. It wasn't a planned trip, but it was a huge experience for me. It was a bit spiritual, and yes, it was something I couldn't find words to explain, and it was so somatic, so physical, so intuitive, that something started growing up inside of me. And a couple of months after when I came back here, I decided to start a new way. I started training, and then I think 6 months after that, I quit my job and started to work by my own.
Wow. So that, what you just, it's kind of the synopsis of what you described then, as like so common. What people say, I was an existential questioner as a child. I was always asking, is this it? Isn't there more to life than these rules? And so I know we've spoken before about how you were questioning the whole religious framework and Catholicism, even though it wasn't hugely imposed on you. It was a kind of a question. I remember you spoke about a moment when you were sitting in church when you were young, and we're just like,
yeah, yeah. I was a teenager, and well, I think it was the period of my age, but yes, it was like when you zoom out, right, as an observer, and you said, what is going on? What is happening here? Everybody repeating words, most of them without thinking or without feeling. That, of of course, it was my impression, right? But I had this kind of sensation, and I said, "Oh no, I couldn't do it anymore."
So that was almost like a catalyst for your experience. Like, would you say that was like an out of body experience where you were witnessing from above in a way?
Mm,
Or your
no, I don't think so. Yeah, I think it was an expansion of consciousness. Yes, and yeah.
And then you said, so your experience in Thailand was that it was quite energetic. So
Yeah.
we talk a lot about Kundalini awakenings, and I know you work a lot with energy. And actually, that's how we connected. We were doing an exercise with connection through energy. So I know that, that's kind of, you work a lot with energy in your work. So I just wondered if that was something that was very significant for you when you were in Thailand.
There in Thailand, yeah. I don't remember the name of the temple, but I especially remember once that was so quiet and in the middle of a forest, and there was like a tunnel I have some pictures there with my friend, and then it was like a tunnel, and without ornaments. It was so simple, the temple, and I stayed there for a long time, for a while, and just feeling. And
So did that awaken something in you, do you think?
yes, sorry.
So that kind of awoke something in you, like stirred up some energy, or is it hard to explain, hard to put into words?
I don't know if it was. I just feel a strong connection with the with the wholeness. Maybe I think. Yes, it could be the first time. I never thought about it in that way, but it could be maybe I don't know if the first time, but yeah, once. Sorry, I couldn't find words.
Okay.
In English.
Es español. ¿En español? Posible. Entiendo.
No, yes, it's like I think it was like when time it's suspended, when you feel that the clock is stopped, and like in a flow situation, that's it. You are not separated from the experience. You are part of the
like being really present in the moment.
Yes, totally. Yeah. I say, oh my God, I want to stay here for 2 days more.
I know exactly what you mean. I'm just thinking how interesting this is, how it's kind of relates to how you work. And I just want to say as well, your English is amazing. I think maybe it's nerves a bit today, but we've had a language exchange for the last couple of years, and it's been completely imbalanced because my Spanish is terrible. So, well, I think we've lost you for a little bit. We have a freeze. Oh no. While you're not with us, I was going to say that. Oh, we just lost you for a minute there. I was just going to say, Karina, and the way you work is very. It's really hard to put into words because you are so present and so quiet, and it's almost like you don't have to say a lot because energetically things happen. And so how you guide the session, and what I remember from my sessions with you is just feeling like actually like it wasn't hugely it wasn't traumatic because it felt very gentle, but actually since then I had some big shifts. So it's almost like that's the way you are. It's like you work in the way that you are. You're very gentle and quiet, and it's like kind of just exude this presence rather than having to use too many words like I do.
Well, I think that it's the main point, the presence is the point is that the process is about the person. I'm only act as a mirror, as or maybe giving voice to your. I think the point is that I build a connection, a strong connection with the coachee, the other person, or the person who is doing the process. And yes, although each process is a different thing, and maybe another person needs different tools or different exercises as we did, but I think the presence and listening is so important, and feeling, although we were working through internet, and you say, I remember the first time I used internet in that kind of exercises was during a workshop with Thomas Hubel. You know him, and it was a workshop about meditation through internet. And I said, and we work in groups, and it was incredible for me because my first thought was it will be not possible to build a strong connection, an energetical connection, and soul by soul, so soul to soul, with a person in Australia, another one in America, and here in Spain, and another one in the UK, from different points of the parts of the world. We built an incredible connection, and it was beautiful. And I remember, oh my gosh, I need to work in that way, and I really appreciate the new technologies, and I think it's so important to people around the world to have access to that kind of work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And our networks wouldn't exist without it. And it's reminding me of what you were saying about the duality of everything, because people talk about how, being on the internet and screen time disconnects people, whereas actually it's also really connecting people. I've connected with the most of the community online. So yeah, it can.
Yeah, I think it depends on the quality that you hold the space, you know, if, and the quality and how you build a relationship. I can be here in the interview with you, and we can hello, how, and without a strong connection, you know.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, remembering about when we were doing our sessions and how intuitive you were to my feelings even before, like you were tuning into my energy before the session. So you were picking up on my feelings, and it was like, my gosh, we don't know each other that well, and we were so connected that you kind of knew how I was feeling even before we started. So it's incredible, isn't it, when you start to tune into energy like that. So yeah, so you offer Skype sessions with people. So if anybody was interested in connecting with you and finding out more about how you work and having maybe a little taster session, where can people find out more about you?
Yes, well, I have my personal website. It's karinasimieli.com, and yeah, I used to do my practices, my sessions through Zoom. Well, the same platform that we are using now, and also by Skype. It depends on how people feel more comfortable, and it's almost the same. Well, I also work presentially here in Spain. And
you're based in Tarragona, Catalonia?
Yeah? Yes, well, the province is Tarragona, and the city is Reus, and I used to work in both cities, in Reus, in Tarragona. And I also work in some projects here with the county of Reus, and also in the University of Tarragona. And yeah.
Okay. So we'll put your website link below, and if anybody would like to contact you to find out more, are you happy for people to just email you?
Yeah, of course. I love it. Yeah, with any question and suggestion, and yeah, I'm open to that.
Lovely. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, sorry. And of course, if anybody is hearing me and from Spanish countries, and of course I could do it in Spanish too, or in Catalan.
Okay, that's actually important. I think there are big communities in South America and obviously Spain who maybe haven't got access to support. So
yeah, because of that I mentioned, because I know you have a wonderful community around the world, and I think, and also in America maybe. And I also collaborate with some other coaches there, also through the internet. Yeah.
Wonderful, the wonderful internet.
Yes, I love these times. It's a bit complex, but with a lot of opportunities.
Absolutely, and it works. And I think it's like anything. It's all about intention, isn't it? If we use it in the right way, then it can be negative or positive, the same as anything else. Yeah. Thank you, Karina.
Oh.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Katie. Gracias a ti. Espero que la próxima vez sea en español. I hope next time you can talk in Spanish.
Un poquito.
Oh, thank you so much, Katie.
Lovely to see you again, as always. Thank you, Karina.
Oh, thank you. Bye.